at Flagler College, where my daughter is. But kind of cool to be able to hang out with my host nephew. I've spent more time with him in the last 3 weeks than I spent with my host sister in 25 years.
Wow, that's great.
Hey, Amanda, I haven't heard anything from Deb. Have
I
you?
have not. I have not heard from Deb today either.
Tiffany, Deb is our club president. She was on travel last week. I thought she got back, but I'm not really sure. If not, we'll cover for her. We have
That's what we
Amanda.
do, right?
We have Amanda's backup, David, so we'll cover for her.
You know, for a small club, I think we consistently have our president-elect, and president nominee, and immediate past president on every call, almost every call.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw you for a loop in November though. I'm
What
gonna
does that
spend 2 weeks. I'm spending 2 weeks of it in Guatemala. So
I was like, you're making me nervous. What are you talking about? Hopefully November should be a little bit easier for me to attend, mostly because work gets a little crazier and I'm still going to be at my desk.
oh my God, crazy. I'm tired of crazy. It's been that year. It's not letting up. I'm going to Guatemala on the 7th. I get back on the 20th, and I'm going back sometime in the middle of December. I'm going to a wedding down there, so that's kind of fun. And then I think I'm spending the month of January at home here in the cold blue north.
Pretty
You know,
sure
they have
that's the
four-letter
month.
words up where you live, Jerry.
Yeah, snow and a few
Yeah.
other ones that you can't say.
Yep.
Yeah.
And snow's the worst one.
That's right.
I think the snow begets the other 4-letter words. I don't know if you just didn't get the handbook when you retired, Jerry, but there's a whole thing you're supposed to do as a Michigander that involves getting on I-75 and going south.
My wife and I had an agreement. This is going back, God, how long we've been married now? 42 years, 43, 44 years, whatever it is. And that agreement was we were going to move to North Carolina to retire. We both wanted to do that back then. And one thing happened that wasn't planned. Well, 4 things, and they're all called grandkids. And if I say anything about moving at all, I get this dirty look from 3 women, including my wife. So,
So you need to be on this influence campaign that my husband and I are working right now, where we're trying to get everybody in the family to agree to move to Huntsville, Alabama. So
well,
it's all
I'd
part
probably
of the
try and get
master
her
plan.
moved to Guatemala, to be honest with you. So, anybody, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and step in here since Deb's not stepping in. So, anybody got happy bucks tonight to share?
Kind of already shared mine, but being able to hang out with my host nephew has been super cool over the past few weeks.
Very cool.
I'll-
Did I
I'll-
announce to you guys last week that I signed up for a polio NID trip in India in February?
Are you going with
That's
Nancy
my-
Barbie?
Yep, I am.
That's awesome. That'll
She
be a
mentioned
great
she
trip.
knows you. Yeah, yep. So, yeah, John Cram's been on that trip with her several times. So,
Yep. No, it'll be a fabulous trip.
yeah.
So my happy dollars are that I spent last week, all week. I spent Monday through Wednesday at the large club conference in Dallas, and then Thursday through Saturday at the Zones 26-27 summit. So lots of travel last week. Was supposed to get home Saturday night, didn't get home until Sunday afternoon.
I have got another one. I'm on this new club creation team, which is I haven't got started yet, but whatever. But I am actually stepping forward in the what do you call it? The client end of the game anyway, and we're started our process down to hopefully start a new club in Holly. So might be reaching out to you, Amanda, for contacts.
Yeah, happy to
That's
help. I'm
great.
still part of all the alumni associations and stuff, and
Oh,
the
very
Holly
good.
Bronchos. Yep.
Oh, very good. All right, great. Other happy bucks. Hi, Ward.
Hello.
Nobody else happy? David should be happy. He's a new Rotarian. Well, kind of.
Newly new, old
Newly
new, or
new.
whatever you want to call it.
David, moved to our club a year and a half ago anyway, and somehow in the process, while I was working on something else at our club at Rotary International level, was looking through our membership list. I'm like, where's David? And come to find out they had him terminated. They didn't actually move him into our club. So that was fixed as of this morning, David. I got the email from him and everything. So we're all
I
good.
just saw the email that you got just when I got home a few minutes ago.
So I think he was trying to get out being president nominee, but I don't know.
That's what it all boils down to.
No, no,
Any other happy
absolutely. I do
bucks?
not agree. I do not approve. David, you are stuck.
Any other happy bucks? Well, Tiffany, I got to tell you, we've got close to 30 members in our club. We vary though in terms of who shows up on here. We record everything for a reason because we've had as high as, God, I look back, 21 or 22 people look at the recording in the following week. So that'll happen. So you're talking to more than just the half a dozen you see here in front of you. So
I have had less members
I'm going to
for
turn the meeting
in-person
over.
meetings, so it
I'm
is
sorry.
just, I've had less people for in-person meetings, so it's just fine, including
I'm going to
last
turn the
week.
meeting over to Chris. Okay. Chris was the one that suggested you, and I think he knows you personally. So I'm going to let Chris do the introduction.
Thanks, Jerry. And I'm really pleased and proud to be able to introduce Tiffany to our group. Tiffany, I've known Tiffany for a long time, and we are fellow Rotary geeks together, as she likes to put it. Tiffany has been involved with the CART process, and I'll let her get into her story about why as she goes through her presentation this evening. And Tiffany also does another great presentation about why Rotary and football are so aligned. So one of these days, maybe she can come back and do that for our club as well. But she's not only an amazing speaker, she's a passionate Rotarian, a past district governor, and really does everything with the four-way test in mind. And proud to introduce Tiffany to our club tonight. So, Tiffany, it's all yours.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you guys so much. I'm excited to be on with you and to have an opportunity to introduce a new program to you. I do not have much information on your district because none of the clubs in your district participate in our program yet. But after tonight, I'll be sending in my request to DACDB to get this district added to our list so that we can communicate a little bit better. Is it okay if I share my screen? Do you think I have permission to do that, Jerry? Let's see. I think I do. Let's see if it
Yep.
works. All right. Just for just some little small notes and all. So I love this quote. It says, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." And, we know that that's not really about Rotary, but isn't it about Rotary? I mean, it's literally who we are and what we do. Sorry, I'm moving this little screen out of my way so I can see everything. So I just love that this quote really exemplifies who we are and what we do. I do want to see you guys. So give me 1 second. I want to fix my screen share so that I can actually see you guys over in the corner. I'm not sure if I can figure out how to do that or not. So, all right, it's okay. It'll be fine. So I'm just gonna trust that you're still there and you're not sleeping. How about that? Because I
We're
cannot see
here.
I cannot see your faces. So, but anyway, I wanted to share that quote with you because it's one of my favorites. And now, if I were with you in person, you would see these 5-inch rhinestone high heels because this is what one of the things that I'm known for. As Chris said, people do call me a Rotary geek. A lot of times people misunderstand and call me the Rotary geek, but Chris is absolutely correct. The definition of a geek is someone who is passionate about some topic that they have knowledge of. So I think there are a lot of us Rotary geeks. I just happen to have the shoes to prove it. And then I have the new ones with the little blue buckets for cart on the side as well. So I do like to wear those when I'm traveling, when I'm speaking. But the other thing I'm known for is in my club and in my district, which my club is in Western North Carolina, and in our paired zones, even the four most dreaded words might be when Tiffany Ervin says I have an idea. People get really nervous for some reason, but it's okay to have a crazy idea every once in a while. It's okay to try something new that you've never tried before. And if I were with you in person, I would give each of you some dice. Everyone would get a die because as we go through this presentation 1 through 6, I'm a very visual learner. So I like to look at the numbers on the die, and I let folks take the dice home with them afterwards if they want them. And so I'm sorry that we're not in person for that instance. But when I think about the one and the power of one, I like to think about how one person truly can make a difference. And I know you guys recognize the guy on the left of your screen. That is, of course, Paul Harris. And I like to think that if Paul Harris hadn't had this crazy idea in 1905 to invite 4 of his business associates to lunch and then rotate to a different office every week, then today we wouldn't have 1.2 million people around the globe who are creating lasting change. And that's how it happened, because one person had a crazy idea. And so similarly, the guy on the right of your screen is the late Roger Ackerman, and he was just like you and I. He was a member of a Rotary Club in Sumter, South Carolina, and he went every Monday to lunch. He wrote checks, he volunteered, he chaired committees, he networked, he mentored, he was a leader in his community. He was just like all of us. And then one day, his mother in law was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And he thought, there's got to be something that we can do as Rotary, some way that we can make a difference. So he had this crazy idea. He had this idea that he would bring these little blue buckets to Rotary with him every Monday at lunch. This was 1995, and someone told him that the amount of pocket change that exchanged hands, or cash even at the time, was this extraordinary amount of money. And his crazy idea was that he would put these buckets on his Rotary tables at lunch every week and ask his fellow Rotarians to simply toss their spare pocket change into these buckets. And that if he could collect enough money, he would start a nonprofit called the CART Fund, Coins for Alzheimer's Research Trust. And his crazy idea was that he would start this nonprofit. He would donate 100% of everything that was raised directly to research. I mean, that sounds crazy, right? How could you ever raise enough money from little buckets to actually fund research grants for Alzheimer's? And how could you ever run a nonprofit if you donate 100% of everything you raise? But that was his crazy idea. And because he had that crazy idea in 1995, today the CART Fund is celebrating 30 years of existence. And this year we gave away a record $2 million in research grants in 1 year. And that brought our cumulative total to $15 million. So it can be done when one person has a crazy idea. And so, people ask, well, are you part of Rotary International? We are not a part of Rotary International in the sense that we are not a funding partner. We're not a Rotary International funded partner. We are a partner of Rotary clubs like yours, Rotary districts, and what started in one club and grew to another and grew to another and then grew to some districts. Today, we're in 600 Rotary clubs around the country in 40 different Rotary districts. Hopefully, we will get you guys interested in our program and it'll become 41 districts, because that's how one person can make a difference, by having a crazy idea and trying something new. Now, when I talk about the 2 on a die, I like to say there are 2 ways to give. And I'm going to be honest, we know that a lot of people don't have spare pocket change anymore, but these little blue buckets will never go away. They are still our signature fundraiser. One of the reasons that Roger created the buckets in the first place was that he didn't want to take away from all the other projects that Rotary clubs were working on. He didn't want to take away from that traditional model of Rotary clubs doing projects in their community where every one of the members lived. However, we're not going to get rid of them because I put them on my shoes. I mean, I have the shoes here. I wear them all the time. We're not going to get rid of the little blue buckets now. But we also recognize that people do business differently than they ever have before. That every club doesn't meet every Monday at lunch or every Tuesday at breakfast. So some clubs have the little small cups that they send home with their members, or the jars, and they send them home, ask their club members to collect and donate. Sometimes they bring them in and dump everything into a big blue bucket. Some clubs do pancake breakfasts or walkathons, or they collect aluminum cans, or they put little containers throughout their community. My club several years ago did the Rotary jerseys that were a wonderful fundraiser that we did for CART. But even before that, I said to my club one time, I'd like to do a fundraiser to raise some extra money for CART, because it's something that's so personal and important to me. And at the time, my mother was deteriorating pretty quickly from the disease. And my club is so great. They said, absolutely. What do you want to do? You want to do a 5K? Do you want to do a golf tournament? I said, you know what? Everybody does a 5K and everybody does a golf tournament. But I have an idea. They got a little nervous, but we did the area's first 0K. It's all the fun without the run. And so my husband, who is a track and football coach, would blow the starting horn and we would race to the bar. It was a great event. It was a lot of fun. It raised a little extra money for CART. It definitely brought some attention to the organization, and that's what it's all about. But I was on the board of the CART Fund for 4 years before I took this role as the part-time executive director. And in the fall of 2019, we really recognized that we needed to move into the 21st century. We needed a way that people could give online safely and securely. So we did the smartest thing we've ever done, and we created a website, mycartfund.org. We actually partnered with DACDB, the District and Club Database, so that if an individual who is a member of a Rotary Club logs into this website using their DACDB login and their DACDB password, it automatically knows what club they're in and what district they're in. So if an individual gives a gift to the CART Fund through this website by logging in with their DACDB login, it automatically rolls up to the club's total. And if a club makes a donation of money they collected, it automatically rolls up to the district's total. It's been great for us for a lot of reasons. Number one, it allows us to track where the money is coming from as far as which districts and which clubs are participating. It also allows us to have a little competition. But most importantly, it has given us the opportunity to really make sure that we're giving people a safe and secure way to easily make a contribution. So we rolled this online donor portal out in February of 2020. Now, I don't know if you guys remember what happened in March of 2020, but I was district governor at the time and I remember it all too well. These little blue buckets were stuck in offices and cars and restaurants and storage buildings, and nobody could make contributions when the world shut down. But because we rolled out this donor portal that at that same time, what we found was that people who were passionate about this topic were still able to go online and make a personal contribution. Even though they couldn't throw any cash into their bucket, they were able to do it with their EFT through their checking account or their debit card or their credit card. We also found that club treasurers who had been holding on to checks for a year or more because they had just forgotten to write a check and mail it to a P.O. box somewhere, they were able to go online and do it immediately and get immediate credit thanks to the connection that we have with DACDB. And we were still able to give away $1 million that year in research grants. So we are really excited about this program. We feel like it's given us an opportunity to be safe, to be secure, but also to be convenient for our donors and our Rotarians. So we actually created a recurring giving program where individuals, Rotarian or not, can sign up to give regularly through that portal, either monthly or quarterly or semi-annually or annually. And you can give as little as $5 a month. $60 a year is the minimum. And you become a member of what we call the Roger Ackerman Circle. It's basically our recurring giving program. It's a way for us to honor the memory of our founder, Roger Ackerman. We even have special pens that these are brand new pens that just came out last week. And so every person who signs up to do that, whether they do it online through the portal, or we actually have some donors who do an annual gift as a required minimum distribution or through their IRA or their charitable account or their family foundation. There's a lot of ways, but if they do it on a recurring basis, so that they're making the gift every year, then we still recognize that they're a member of this. So it's been a great way for us to recognize our donors, to say thank you, and we also find that it's easier for some people, especially as we have more and more clubs that are impact models or satellite clubs or don't meet on a regular basis or meet online. It's been a great way for clubs and members like that to also participate. Now, when we look at a 3 on the die, I like to give you examples of 3 of the researchers that I think are really good examples of some of the projects that we're funding. Because what we're funding are seed grants. These are researchers who have an idea, something that they want to develop to see if it might, develop into something later. But they need data and statistics in order to go apply for those multi-million dollar grants from NIH or big pharma or the federal government. So on here on your screen are some examples. On the far left are doctors Kim and Quinty, and they're actually at Harvard in Boston, and they're looking at repurposing already approved FDA drugs to see if they can be used for a different purpose, maybe like an Alzheimer's or dementia. And they're specifically studying anti-malarial drugs to see if that's something that, now that it's in generic form, could it be used for a different purpose. There are 2 to 3 drugs that have recently been approved by the FDA for Alzheimer's and dementia, but they run about $30,000 a year, and they're slowing the progression of the disease. They do not treat it, they do not cure it. So wouldn't it be fascinating if they could find something that's already in a generic form? And when I first heard about this, I thought that's the craziest idea. How would that ever work? And then someone reminded me of Ozempic, and there are a lot of other drugs like that that are now being used for different purposes. The guy on the right is Dr. Peter Tessier from the University of Michigan. He's actually studying the delivery methods of drugs. He wants to know if the maximum amount of a drug is getting through what they call the blood-brain barrier in order to most effectively treat the disease. But the guy in the center, that's Dr. Gerald Chun from California, he has this theory. I call it a crazy idea. But he believes that there are remnants of previous viral infections that lie dormant in our body, and without any warning, they may affect an organ like the brain and cause a disease like Alzheimer's or dementia. I mean, when you think about that, that sounds like a really crazy idea. But I want you to think about the shingles. And that's exactly what happens is it's a virus that lies dormant in our body, and then without any warning at all, it actually does a lot of damage and pain. So it'll be interesting to see if these guys come up with something that it was really a game changer in this industry. We've had lots of game changers, lots of projects that have been funded that have truly impacted future development, future research. And if you're interested in that kind of thing, I encourage you to look at our website, cartfund.org, because it does have the results of all of the research that our people have been doing. I mean, since 1999, we've now funded $15 million in research. There have been genes that have been discovered that are now being used in other research. There are tests that have been approved by the FDA, such as a retina scan and PET scans. So there's a lot of great work that's being done, and it's interesting because when I took this job, several people said, "Well, we'd love to, actually hear from a researcher more so than just the one time a year that the new awardees actually come in person to accept their gift." So we created a monthly lunch and learn on Zoom where we invite a different researcher every month to do a presentation for us. I call it lunch a la carte, but we allow them to make a presentation and then answer questions. So you get an opportunity to talk to them, to ask questions. And if you miss it live, then you can always watch the replay on our YouTube channel. But it's an opportunity. You can find the schedule on our website or in the DACDB calendar. You just have to select CART events to see all of the things that we're up to. And it's really been a great program for us. It's a great way to spotlight some of the work that our researchers are doing. Now, when I think about the 4 on a die, to me, this one is the most important. I like to talk about the 4-way test. I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention it because, quite honestly, this is what we as Rotarians live, work, and breathe by. And I don't ever want anyone to think that I'm asking you to support the CART Fund instead of the Rotary Foundation. Listen, the Rotary Foundation is our foundation. Eradicating polio from the face of the planet is the #1 funding priority of our organization. I keep my pinky painted purple for Polio Plus at all times because it makes people ask me why. And I get a chance to tell them that we are going to eradicate a disease from the face of the planet. But here's what I know from all the 20 plus years I've been in this organization is that Rotarians are very generous individuals, and we all have different skills and talents and passions. And I'm never going to be a major donor to the Rotary Foundation. I can't write a big check. I give every month to the Rotary Foundation via Rotary Direct because it's the right thing to do. And I do the same with Polio Plus because it's the right thing to do. But the cart fund, because of what I watched with my mother, is very personal to me. And now I can do that for the cart fund as well with as little as $5 a month. So I can support both organizations. And quite honestly, Alzheimer's and dementia does fall under one of the seven areas of focus with disease prevention and treatment. So I personally believe that who we are is what we do with what we have. Who we are is what we do with what we have. And we all have different skills and talents and passions that we bring to the table. The question is, what's missing from your table? Because there might be people in all of our communities that are passionate about finding a prevention, treatment, or cure for Alzheimer's, and they have no idea that it's something that Rotary is even working on. And so I believe it's an opportunity for us to grow our membership as well, whether it's in our local communities or our online clubs or our satellite and companion and impact clubs, whatever the case may be. Cause-based clubs or cause-based members, or finding one thing that a member can be passionate about. For me, I am grateful that there are people who are passionate, people like Nancy Barbie, who is passionate about putting those vaccines in the mouth of a child in India to make sure they don't get polio, or people who are passionate about clean water in Africa, or people who are passionate about putting a dictionary in the hand of a third grader. I am passionate about finding a prevention, treatment, or cure for Alzheimer's because everywhere I travel, people have an Alzheimer's story. And our goal is that someday they no longer have to have those Alzheimer's stories. I'm really lucky. I get to travel around the country and share my Rotary story, share a little bit of my Alzheimer's story as well. My mother had the disease, and I remember the day that she looked at me and she said, "Why do you want to hang out with me today? Wouldn't you rather go spend the day with your mother or your family?" It was Mother's Day Sunday that she said that to me, and she had no idea who I was. It was like a knife to my gut. But I also remember the day that she looked at me and she said, "Now, what grade are you in high school?" I thought, wow, I look so young today. It's these small wins with this disease, and we have to take them wherever we can get them. And that's what the CART Fund does. It gives us small wins through these seed grants. So every year, I always like to say, "Give me five" for the five on the die. Every year, I ask our scientific review committee that goes over all the applications for our grants every year. I ask them to give me some positive news, something I can share with our Rotarians, our donors. And every year, these guys volunteer their time. Every year, we get somewhere between 40 and 45 applications for grants. This year, we did not get 45 applications, we got 92. These researchers want to work with us. They tell us that they love the fact that we donate 100% of everything that is raised directly to research. They love the fact that we're funding seed grants because it's for younger, newer researchers that have this crazy idea that they want to test. But here's the other thing they tell me. They tell me that they really love the fact that Rotarians are not only concentrating on one problem or issue, but that we're solving so many problems around our communities and around the globe for people we've never even met. And that's really impressive to these researchers. And the ones that I've had the opportunity to talk to are always enthralled by that. And so when I say give me five, I always say, if you have a bucket at your table, maybe you throw a $5 bill in there one week instead of a one. Or maybe you'd like to sign up to give $5 a month. Or maybe your club would like to have five people who sign up to give $5 a month. Or there's a lot of ways you can give me five. But here's the easiest way. The scientific review committee every year tells me that the best way to prevent the onset of this disease is a healthy lifestyle. They say to eat better, drink more water, sleep more, walk more. I don't do any of those. I've got so much work to do. But they tell us that in addition to working our body and exercise, we also have to work our minds. Now, I don't know if any of you guys do Wordle, but I used to think it was the stupidest thing ever until I had something like 100 consecutive wins. And then I thought it was brilliant, of course. But the researchers tell us this is a really good way. Every morning, spend 5 minutes, even if it's on your phone, but it could be on a crossword puzzle book or in the newspaper. But work your body in addition to your mind, because they tell us that that is so, so important. Now, I mentioned earlier, I get to travel around, and I'm always getting a chance to share my story. I mean, I don't travel like Chris Jones, but I get to travel and share my story with folks too. And I'm always grateful for that. I always wear a Rotary pin. I don't know if you can even see on my shirt that I have a little bling on there. My pins, you saw my shoes, I usually do have a little bling going on. Sequins are my Prozac, so I've always got a little glitter going on somewhere. But I wear my pin every day. I was actually speaking to a Rotary Club in Anchorage, Alaska one time, and if any of you want to follow me on social media, I encourage you to do that. Except I warn you, I post a lot of Rotary stuff, but I'm always taking a picture. I call it a service above selfie that I can post online. And so when I got to this club in Anchorage, they do their happy dollars. They pass around the room this great big fur hat that has a Rotary cog on the front of it. I mean, it's Alaska. Of course, they have a big fur hat. And I said to the guy, I've got to have my picture made wearing that hat. He was like, honey, you don't want that hat anywhere near your head. Trust me. So I did not get that photo. But here's the thing. I got up to speak to them and I said, this is so impressive. I said, raise your hand if you're wearing your Rotary pin today. And 75% of the room, their hands went up. It was incredible. And so I said, now do me a favor, keep your hand up if you wear it every day. And their hands started coming down. So I'm going to ask you the same thing I asked them. Are you only a Rotarian on Tuesday nights? Or are you proud to be a Rotarian every single day? Because you know what that pin says about you? Or the shirt, or the earrings, or the shoes, or the jewelry, or the earrings, or the hat, whatever it might be. It says that you are people of action. It says that you are a leader in your community, you network, you mentor, you fellowship, you create lasting change. Aren't those the kind of people we want to be around more often? And aren't those the kind of people we're looking for? So let's wear our pins, our hats, our shirts, our glitter high heel shoes, whatever the case may be, and let's share our story. You know, there's a quote from from Dr. Seuss. It's in the Lorax, and it says, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. And I like to believe that that's kind of what we as Rotary are all about. So, my advice to you is to find your passion and make it your purpose, because that's how we as Rotary have an opportunity to really make an impact in our communities and around the globe. And that's one of the things that these people ask me all the time. Well, you're wearing your Rotary pin, and people ask you, what's your elevator pitch? If somebody asks you what Rotary is, I'm gonna let y'all in on my little secret. I don't think you need an elevator pitch. I think you just have to memorize the Rotary vision statement. It says, together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. And that's what we do. So if you remember nothing else today, the shiny shoes or anything else, I want you to remember these 6 words. Be a voice, not an echo. It's okay to try new things that we've never tried before. It's okay to do things differently than we've ever done it before. You know, the thing about it is, when I travel and speak, people say to me all the time, you really think outside the box, Tiffany. Guys, there is no box. All you have to do is think differently than we've ever thought before. And if you do that, if you find your passion and you make it your purpose, just imagine how much more impact we could have around the globe and in our communities and in ourselves. So I thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit of my Rotary story, a little bit of the Cart Fund story. I'm happy to answer questions if you have them, but thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you guys tonight.
Tiffany, thank you so
Tiff,
much for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Tiffany,
I
great
have a question.
presentation.
Sorry, go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Chris.
Yes.
No, go ahead, Amanda. Ladies first.
I, I where?
Oh,
I, I was curious as you were talking. We do the same thing, right? Happy Bucks. How do you do Happy Bucks when you don't get together? So we did a QR code, and that works when we remember to put it up. I'm bad. I don't ever remember to put it up. But I was wondering, have you ever considered working with one of the national banks to do some kind of a roundup program through one of their apps, like
we
a
have not.
USAA or something? Okay.
I have people that ask that. I am a part-time staff of one, managing 600 Rotary clubs in 40 districts, and so
Yep.
I am doing well to keep it under 60 or 70 hours a week. That has not been something I've looked at. I think it's a great idea. I encourage clubs and districts to think differently and to go out, and if they have contacts with those people,
Hmm.
we do have QR codes on our buckets. It opens up to the portal that I was talking about, and there'll be something new coming with all of that coming soon with DACTV that I won't even tell yet, but we're working on that as well. So we do not have any national programs right now. Honestly, it would probably be more than we could even handle. I'm not going to lie, because we are grassroots. We have a part-time
Yep.
staff of one and a lot of volunteers. And people, like, I spoke to at a club in Tallahassee a few weeks ago, and they said, "Oh, you should do this program where you get people to donate their golf carts, and then they sell them, and then the money." I said, "That is a great project for your club. Let me know how that works out for you." So I love that idea. We've talked about it because there are large corporations that are based in some of the areas that we're very active, like Lowe's in the Charlotte area, Home
Hmm.
Depot in the Atlanta area, Delta, all of those. But you're right, that is a massive project to undertake.
Yeah, and kind of need something that you'd need like an alliance lead who is leading those conversations. And
Absolutely.
I don't think Amazon's not doing the Smile program anymore, right?
That's
They got away
correct.
with that.
We were part of the Smile program, and we got about $150 a quarter usually from that. But that was a while back. That was before we had the portal that we have now, and but we did get some money from that until they did away with that. It's funny you say that because no one has mentioned Amazon Smile to me in years, and now I've heard it twice this week. So
Which
that's
is
really
funny because
funny.
that's why I was going to say that's why we got rid of it. I don't work there anymore, but
Oh,
that's why it was gotten rid of, right? Is because people just weren't using it. And now everybody's looking for a chance to use
and it
it.
was funny because people said to me they were so mad at Amazon for doing away with it. I said, it's their money. They didn't have to give it to us in the first place.
And this is
Tiffany,
really awesome.
Thank you.
Tiffany, another great presentation, and thank you so much. Can you talk a little bit about the annual conference that CART holds?
Sure, I would love to. So each year, whatever recipients are getting grants are invited to an in-person meeting. We call it our annual meeting. Next year's will be July 30th and 31st. It's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's open to everyone. If you would like to be on our email list, I encourage you to go to our website, cartfund.org, and just enter in your first and last name and your email, and that way we can add you to the email list, and you'll get our monthly newsletter. But at that event, we have each of the researchers who are getting their first installment of their grants for that year to come and do a presentation, to speak to us, to answer questions, to spend time. And it's an opportunity to hear from them directly, and also spend some time with them the night before. And last year we did it totally different than we'd ever done before. We had a keynote speaker during lunch, and we're going to be doing that again next year as well. So it's kind of a day and a half, maybe, but it could be just a full day. But we also Zoom it on Friday. So if you say, "Gosh, I can't fly into Charlotte for that meeting, but I would love to hear what they say," then you can sign up to Zoom for free as well. And
And
I'm just
Tiffany,
going to say this, Chris, I'll just add this, sorry. So this is our 30th anniversary, kicking off this year because it started in 1995. So we're in our 30th year. So our goal for next year is to give away $3 million. So we'll see. That's our goal. That's our plan.
and Tiffany, I think you mentioned this at the very beginning, but one more time, what does CART stand for?
Absolutely. Well, so it was started with coins for Alzheimer's Research Trust. I like to tell people the C can now be cash, check, credit card, any type of currency as well. And we are only in the United States, simply because we are a 501(c)(3) that was started in South Carolina. So we follow our IRS guidelines. We only award grants within the United States. And so we do have a couple of Canadian clubs that contribute. We've had an Indian district that participated for a while, but we only award the grants in the United States.
Um, Tiffany, question.
Yes.
Does it just do Alzheimer's or does it do the other severe dementias as well?
It is encompassing of all dementias. It
Okay.
and what's interesting is that what I have learned, and I always say I'm not a medical professional. I'm a PR, fundraising, marketing type girl. That's my background. So I will never pretend to understand all of the research that they do. But what I have seen in the 6 or 8 years that I've been involved with CART is that so many of the projects not only look at something with Alzheimer's or dementia, but other related diseases as well. So one of the researchers that we have right now is looking at Huntington's disease also. There are several that also look at things with Parkinson's. And there's actually a guy in New York at Cold Center Harbor, New York, who is also using some of the blood-brain barrier tactics to look at treating cancer as well, with whether or not the maximum amount of a drug, gets through the blood-brain barrier. So it's really interesting that it does encompass more than just Alzheimer's.
My my father passed away a year and a half ago with a dementia that was very basically he'd ended up just like Alzheimer's until he ended up,
Sorry.
curled up on a bed basically. And he actually passed away before that happened, but he was heading there. And then my father-in-law, severe dementia as well. And he passed away a couple years ago, but my mother-in-law now lives with us and she has true Alzheimer's, and it's
Oh.
watching the
Let-
slow changes,
I'm so
is
sorry.
tough.
And we all
Yeah.
have those stories, whether it's a caregiver or a loved one or a friend or a family member or whatever. And that's the unfortunate part, is that it affects everyone so differently as well. And you never know, how bad it is, or what pieces of it. Like my mother could get very angry, and my mother was never an angry person, and that was hard. And then she got to that point where she didn't want to take care of herself. She didn't want to shower, wash her hair, put on makeup. And my mother was like me, the glam, the glitter, the sequins and things. And so it's really hard to watch. And when they lose those memories, that's even worse. We have had
Just
some folks doing
uh,
frontal temporal lobe dementia, and the vascular
and the
dementia,
one I
and
just found out about recently was far worse. I mean, I always thought the Alzheimer's and then the dementia that's basically Alzheimer's were the worst, but there's one out there where they hallucinate,
Mm.
and depending on their own personality, they will think you're an alien coming to hurt them, and they will try to kill you.
Oh my
And
goodness.
that is just horrible,
Absolutely.
just
Oh.
horrible.
Mm.
Yeah, tough, all tough.
Mhm.
Other questions?
Well, Tiffany, I appreciate your sharing tonight. Your presentation reminded me back when I was in a brick and mortar club, the Farragut Rotary Club in West Knoxville here in Tennessee.
Yeah.
We had a gentleman join our club who actually brought the cart buckets and
Mhm.
began that. But I have to
Great.
admit, I really did not catch on to what they were about. There was not
Oh.
really a full-fledged presentation. He just asked permission to do this because evidently he
Mhm.
had been involved with it in a prior
In
club.
Florida.
And
Hmm.
I still get their newsletter and see what they're doing and raising. They continue that on, and so I
Yes.
really was unaware what it was all about. We had the blue buckets, but I didn't really know exactly what they were about. And so
Right.
I appreciate that and appreciate
Oh,
you
good.
sharing that
Thank you.
tonight.
We are getting ready to
Yeah.
really push harder in that those Tennessee districts. We do have a couple of volunteers there that want to get the entire message out. So that's what we're looking to
Mhm.
do. So good to know. Thank you, David.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I worked in healthcare for 42 years, and saw Alzheimer's back in the 80s when it was first beginning to really come to the forefront and be diagnosed, and the trauma that it created for families during that time frame. And so I've been aware of it. And we had the hospital I was at, we had a senior behavioral health unit, and that was dementia and Alzheimer's was the primary diagnosis of folks who were in there,
Mm.
and trying to provide care for those folks was certainly a task for families, but also for caregivers. And so I appreciate those who are willing to do research to try to find some type of resolve for this.
Mm. Thank you.
Amanda, let's put this on our discussion for our next board.
Absolutely.
Tiffany, have you created a virtual blue bucket? I'm just curious.
I guess not literally. I mean, other than the QR code, I guess.
Yeah,
Um,
we should talk about that
okay. I think that's a great project for you, Chris. No, I'm just kidding. No,
in
but
my spare time.
yeah, we could,
Huh.
yeah, in your spare time, exactly.
Yeah.
We could think about that.
Chris, if we're not using DeckDB as our club, for example, theoretically, hypothetically, would we be able to go through the QR code to do it that way as well?
Yeah, Tiffany, you want to talk about that?
I think I will answer this correctly, that we can still add your club and district through our online donor portal, even if you are not a DACDB user. You would just create an account, and we would be able to, and even if it didn't connect immediately, we can go in behind the scenes and make sure everything is correctly identified to the right club. But we have
Okay.
the ability to import clubs and districts that are non-DACDB users. Did I say that right, Chris?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. And much to the chagrin of one of our members, we're not using DACDB.
Okay. Well, that's why I didn't find you in there today then. I'm sure
So
that'll
beyond,
Our
update.
district has been on Club Runner since 2003, so it's a
Oh.
little, goes back quite a ways.
Mhm.
And
so
it's hard
we
to,
would let,
we've thought about it, but it's hard to be a club different,
Yeah.
We thought about it. And we especially thought about it because of the cost of our dang credit card system.
Oh.
It's killing us.
so so beyond what we've talked about with ways to donate, how best can we support you in your efforts?
I think that if any of you have contact, well, so a couple of ways. You can also, I mean, obviously contributions are the first way, whether it's signing up as a recurring donor or doing a distribution from an IRA or a charitable gift or a one-time gift or whatever the case may be. But in addition to that, it's sharing our message. And, if you're visiting in-person clubs, ask them if they've heard about us. Would they be willing to have a program? That kind of thing. Obviously following us on all of our social media and sharing our post. We're pretty active on Facebook. We also have Instagram and X, and we have a YouTube channel. And so, any place that you can share all of that is also helpful. And if you want to learn more, you can sign up for the newsletter. You can also attend one of the lunch and learns. And then we also do a monthly Zoom call on the third Thursday of the month at night. It's called Cart Conversations. And every month we have different guest speakers who talk about fundraising ideas, public image ideas, research. Not We don't get into a lot of research, but it's really for our volunteers how they can get more involved. So that's always a great way to. And those if you can't get into a DACTB calendar to see us, they're also on our website calendar as well.
Thank you. So I'm sharing the links. I found the Facebook
Wonderful.
page. So for everybody that's listening and can't see the chat, it's facebook.com/cartfund, all one word. And I found the Instagram as well, which is instagram.com/thecartfund, all one word.
Thank you.
Cool.
You're welcome.
I can see us doing a ride to support CART, that'd be fun.
Kind of thinking that. Can we do a ride where we invite people who have sidecars, and it'll be the sidecars for CART? Carts for
There you go.
Trailer, so I pull a cart. We'll fill
Can
the
we
trailer.
just stop and get ice cream a la carte?
A la carte.
There we go. I like it.
Oh my goodness.
That would be an interesting. Wow, that would really be an interesting ride theme.
Oh, just
We had,
ice cream place to ice cream place to ice cream place. I
there you
am so
go.
down for that.
A la
We
carte.
had a club in the Villages in Florida that did a golf cart parade one year.
Nice.
And we have a lady in Florida right now who's getting ready to run a marathon, and she's collecting pledges. And we've had, there was an individual an 80-something-year-old man that swam so many laps on his birthday and collected pledges. So we've had a lot of really interesting fundraisers over the years. So yeah,
Yes,
we would
I,
welcome
I
that.
I really love the idea of the 0K. I'm not gonna lie. You said
Yeah.
that as I was like walking up the stairs, huffing and puffing, like, yes, a 0K sounds
It
great.
is it definitely gets people's attention.
And I wonder, so my husband is in the wine industry, wine and liquor industry here in the DC area, and he happens to know all of the restaurants and bars. It'd be kind of fun to do a bar crawl, and it could be like a
Oh, yeah.
0.2.
Yes, that's true. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. When you do it like this, we just had a band, we had a bar, we had a buffet, and we had one sign that said start/finish. And so it was all one and the same, and we took pictures and that kind of thing.
That's pretty
I just
cool,
love that.
Tiffany. The 3 Bs, band, buffet, and bar.
Exactly. Exactly.
If we could add burgers and Jimmy Buffett,
Ooh.
I'm liking this. I'm liking this
Burgers
already.
and Buffett, yeah.
Oh.
Well,
I
we
used
got
to
all the
host,
Bs.
yeah, I am a member of the VFW, but I was a vice president in Grand Haven, Michigan, and we had this awesome patio out back, and they never used it. So we started Burgers, Beer, and Buffett on Thursday nights. It was
I
great.
like it.
Well, so that is fantastic. Tiffany, thank you so much for
All right.
presenting today. Like I
Absolutely.
said, everybody, I did drop the recipe, the link to the website for cartfund.org in the chat, as well as the facebook.com/cartfund and instagram.com/thecartfund. so we can find you. Jerry, I'll pull together a post that we can post on our own socials,
Okay.
linking to them.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I got one final question for you, Tiffany.
Yes.
Chris really spawned my interest when he said that you do this other presentation, and you're a great presenter. What are you doing on the 19th or the 18th of November?
You don't want me again this soon, do you, though?
Actually,
November 18th.
tied to the football season and the stuff coming up that's right there, that
Oh,
would hit actually pretty good.
I wish I could. I'm actually speaking.
Okay.
I'm in West Virginia that night. I'm physically there that
All
for 2
right.
days. So I will
I'm
not.
gonna book you somewhere along the line.
Okay.
That football
It's a deal.
and Rotary. What do you
Absolutely.
call it again?
Well, there's a couple of different ones. The one I'm doing right now is called Locker Room Leadership. It's what we as Rotary can learn from from sports and athletics. I spent many years as a sideline reporter. This is a true story, not unlike all the others that I tell. But I spoke at the International Convention in Sydney, Australia, and it was the first time I'd ever submitted an application to do a breakout session at an international convention. And I titled it, I thought, okay, if I title it something really interesting, maybe I'll get picked. And so I did, and I got picked. But I titled it What Miss America, College Football, and Rotary Have in Common. And I got there, and there were people lined up down the hallway. I mean, the room was full. They could get no one else in there. There were hundreds of people lined up down the hall. They couldn't get in. And I remember thinking, oh crap, what have I done? And so I got up to speak, and I thought I have to break the ice somehow. So my first thing was, if you are here thinking that you're hearing Miss America speak, you're welcome to get up and leave right now if there's been a misunderstanding. And everybody laughed, and it broke the ice, and we went on. But so I used to call it What Miss America, College Football, and Rotary Have in Common, but now it's called Locker Room Leadership, and it talks about things that we should be learning from sports as an organization.
I'm again would love to hear that. I'm a recovering coach myself.
Oh, nice.
With the cannonball run down to Flagler this weekend was for my nephew to try to get on a D1 soccer team. So
my husband is in his 40th year of teaching and coaching and retiring in May. We are counting down now.
Oh, do you actually retire from coaching? Does that happen?
I don't know.
Do people retire from coaching?
He tried it once, it didn't work, so we're going to try it again.
I did 20 years ago, Amanda.
Yeah. I think we retire every year.
And those girls still call me coach when they talk to me. It's kind of cool.
I just one of my girls, she's a nurse in Louisville now, and she just posted that she's moving to Huntsville, Alabama. And I was like, this is perfect because we're trying to move to Huntsville, Alabama. So but yeah, I've got it's hard to even say out loud. I think I have 7 or 8 girls who are married already, and 6 of them have kids. So that's when I like to think that I'm young. I remember that.
So.
There's a number of my girls that are your age, Amanda. So very cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany.
Right. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Who hasn't done the 4-way test in a while? Hey, Ward, can we tag you for the 4-way test? Or we call it the 5-way test.
I had to unmute my mic. Are we ready?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
The truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
At all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Will it build goodwill and
better friendships?
Dang, I forgot the last one. Somebody else take it.
Will it be beneficial to all
Will it be
concerned?
beneficial to all concerned? And will it be fun?
Will it be fun?
Will it be fun?
And will we get caught?
Yeah.
That takes the fun out of it.
People say there are no Rotary police. I say there are Rotary police, but they're highly underfunded. So
there we go. All right. Well, thank you guys. We'll catch up with you all pretty soon. All right.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Have a great evening.
Thanks
everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Where's my wallet? There it is.